Welcome to Your Food Looks Funny. I am Marcus T, and today's topic is just dessert.
I'm not eating that.
I'm not eating that. So today I'm going to get into kind of the events that happened in this past week and why we're talking just dessert. I know I mentioned it on the last episode, but I wanted to get a little bit more specific about something I was planning while we were talking through that episode. Granted, I had my wife with me and her birthday was coming up that Friday. So I had planned to make her a cake. And as you can guess, my wife does not eat traditional cake. So the type of cake that I was going to make was an ice cream cake. She's a huge fan of ice cream. If there's any dessert that she will eat, if I say, hey, do you want some ice cream? She'll say yes. She won't even ask what the flavor is. She'll just say yes. So that's the kind of person we're dealing with here. Keep that in mind. So for her birthday, I surprised her. We had some small games that were themed after her that she really enjoyed. But for dessert, I made her an ice cream cake. So in the past, I've had conversations with people about me making ice cream. And I've mentioned this on different episodes about me making ice cream. I have a KitchenAid mixer with the freezer bowl attachment. And so I can churn my own ice cream in the freezer bowl. There are multiple other ways of making ice cream that don't require that freezer bowl attachment, but it's a much easier way of accomplishing the end goal using it. But normally when I mention to people that I have that attachment in that mixer, they instantly rule it out of their mind that they can't do it themselves. You can. And for this particular instance of me making an ice cream cake, it's doable without all of that. Based off of one simple shortcut, you buy the ice cream. So you'll actually feel like you made it, but you didn't have to go through the stress of making the type of ice cream and also forming the cake. So this particular instance, I made her ice cream cake, but I bought the ice cream. So she's a huge fan of coffee ice cream. So I bought Ben & Jerry's 2 pints of coffee ice cream. I also bought some French vanilla and some salted caramel. Now, you don't need 3 flavors. You don't even need 2. If you just want 1 flavor, that would be sufficient. But if you want to get a little bit more creative with the combinations of flavors, buy a couple of different flavors. And then if you want frosting, you can use a whipped cream, which works. And a lot of the different suggestions that I saw online were whipped cream with like sprinkles or something. But the one I gravitated towards was crushed up Oreos. Now this kind of creates a crust more than a frosting, but it's very appealing to me. The only problem that I found with this after I made it, and I'll post pictures underneath this post on yourfoodlooksfunny.com, and I'll probably put them on my social media as well, but this crust was a little bit much. It was a lot of Oreos at the end. The cake came out beautifully with the layers, but it was very heavy in the taste of Oreo and not so much in the ice cream flavor. Now, my wife, who's the ice cream connoisseur, said she was able to taste the different flavors of ice cream, but she also said that the Oreo was very prevalent. So it probably could have used 1 or 2 less layers of Oreos. And it also gave me more ideas for later cakes that I may make for her. I'll mention those later. But for now, we're just sticking with the one that I made last week. So last week, like I said, I bought 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's coffee toffee ice cream. So it has these big Heath bar pieces in it, which I wish I would have chopped up a little bit better now that I look back on that as well. And the French vanilla ice cream I bought was Breyers, and the salted caramel ice cream I bought was Breyers. So between the 3 different ice creams and the Oreos, it might have been 15 to 20 bucks worth of spending for what amounted to a 3-layer cake worth of ice cream and Oreos. So it was really good. It was a lot of ice cream for me. It was even plenty for my wife. I think we still have half of it left, but she's gonna finish it. I'm not worried about that at all. But she loved it. Like I said, she loves ice cream. But I mentioned this specifically and dedicate what's most of an episode to it based off of the fact that you can make this at home. So take your favorite flavor of ice cream from the store. Get enough, and I'll probably post a reference to the recipe that I used. And it's not so much of a recipe, it's more of an assembly. You're gonna melt down that ice cream or just let it sit out and soften. You're not necessarily melting it. You're just letting it sit out and soften, and it's not going to take as long as you may think it will. Maybe 20, 30 minutes before it starts to soften. And you'll just keep stirring it until it's to a spreadable consistency like frosting. And then you're going to put it in a pan. You can use a cake pan. What I used was my springform pan that I use for cheesecake, and I lined it with plastic. So I pressed the crust down, which was just crushed up Oreos and a little bit of butter that was melted. Pressed that down in the pan, and then I put down my first layer of very soft ice cream. And then I sprinkled that with more Oreos. And then I put down my next layer of very soft ice cream, which was the French vanilla. So I did the coffee on the bottom, French vanilla in the middle, another layer of Oreos, and then I put that in the freezer because I didn't have enough space to do the third layer of ice cream. Luckily for me, I have a second pan. So I took a second pan, pressed down the Oreos in the same fashion, and put down the caramel ice cream that had been softened, and put that in the freezer separately. Once they had both frozen pretty solid, which may take a few hours or I just left them overnight, I brought them both back out. I took a warm sheet tray and laid the caramel layer face down on that warm sheet tray so that it would start to melt a little bit. And then I slid it off and unwrapped the plastic on top of the other two layers so that it would kind of freeze to it or glue itself to the other layers to make it a 3-layer ice cream cake. Now again, yours doesn't have to be this intricate. If you just want 2 layers of ice cream, and December, like I said, is mostly desserts for me. So that's why we're having this talk right now. Even though it's ice cream, and I know most of you guys, it's starting to get really cold, ice cream doesn't go out of style. I learned that from living in a house with a person that loves ice cream. So no matter if it's cold or not, don't discount ice cream. Don't think it's just a spring, summer thing. It's good all times of the year. I don't eat it to the same amount of my wife, but I still eat it. And coming up with new flavors is always great for me, which is where I'll get to my next thing. So this particular one, and again, I have pictures on social media and on the website underneath this post on yourfoodlooksfunny.com, but future flavors that I will be trying, and maybe this is more of a summer thing, but I'll definitely get into it. She loves golden Oreo. So for the particular cake that I'm talking about and have pictures up of, it had regular chocolate with white cream Oreos. She loves golden Oreos, which would go great with another ice cream flavor that she likes. Not that there are many of those that she doesn't, but it's strawberry. So if I do strawberry ice cream layered with golden Oreo crust, that sounds fantastic. And on top of that, if I add a little bit of lemon zest in that, it will be a strawberry lemon crunch cake. See, coming up with great stuff right on the spot. There are other flavors that I've thought of, like mint chocolate Oreos with mint chocolate chip ice cream. She likes it. I don't. It's something about foods that are green, that aren't a vegetable, that I'm not a huge fan of. I have nothing against the color green that much. Maybe it was because I was a big fan of the color red back in the day, and not so much anymore. So maybe I've warmed up the green a little bit more, but I still can't get down with pistachio or mint chocolate chip ice cream. So please tell me under this post on yourfoodlooksfunny.com or the Your Food Looks Funny group on Facebook what your favorite flavors of ice cream are. Okay, mine is basically anything with some sort of crunch to it that's not green. Not green. That's the main topic here. It's all about the color. The color has nothing to do with the taste, but it's something about the color that I just can't get past. But a butter pecan. I'm a huge fan of, there's a flavor Ben & Jerry's makes called Americone Dream, and it has waffle cone pieces with caramel and chocolate in it, but it's a vanilla ice cream. Really good. I'm not a big fan of anything chocolate. I know a lot of people are fans of it, and for some reason, vanilla has gotten the reputation of being plain or unexciting. Vanilla is consistent, people. It's consistent. That's what it is. You can't pair chocolate with everything, but you can put vanilla with just about anything. If you add vanilla to chocolate, it gets lost. If you add chocolate to vanilla, it's complemented. Think about it. Don't think too hard about it, because you might come up with something valid that might disprove what I said. So don't think too hard about it. Just let it sink in like I knew what I was talking about. But in my humble opinion, vanilla over chocolate any day with something crunchy in it. That's my 2 cents on it. Other than that, ice cream cake. Some other things I will get into sooner than later, because December is basically going to be tied into the holidays later. But I want to talk dessert. When it's warm outside, desserts are colder. So I figured we'd start with the colder ones in December and then we'll get a little warmer as it goes. So not exactly sure what the next couple will be about, but we're going to talk about some cookies. We're going to talk about some brownies. I'll talk about some cakes, some traditional cakes, that is, some pound cakes. Maybe we'll even talk about some more complicated stuff, some yeast-risen desserts, some cinnamon rolls, some donuts. I'll show you some easy ways to make these things without doing them the hard way. That way you and your family who've been quarantined in the house together for 9 months can have some new things to do together. But keep the ice cream cake in mind. Don't let it go just because it's 0 outside. You know, you can be cold outside and inside. Grab a warm blanket, a good space heater, curl up in front of the fire if you got one of those. Enjoy yourself. But other than that, that's it for today. Nice short and sweet episodes. I know you're having fun with your family. Enjoy them. Check out yourfoodlooksfunny.com for all episodes, the pictures of the ice cream cake underneath this post. Donate to the show. Check out our merch, all on yourfoodlooksfunny.com. And I'll see you guys next week. All right.